I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. Welcome, everyone. We've been in exec session, and we will return to exec session after our public session because we have more work to do, and we will get to that after our agenda. And we do have some modifications to that agenda, to this agenda that is before us tonight. And Sean, I believe you had some.
My apologies. Yes. Let me, if I can get into my Dropbox real quick. On the agenda item number, my apologies.
I have paper.
Pulling numbers 5, B, C, D, E, and F. We're pulling the policies from tonight's board agenda.
And Sean, this is something we have talked about. Well, you can talk about it when regarding the policy committee, but we are going through a policy review process, and we're not really ready to start in on our whole new slew of policies that we're going to be dealing with.
And I'll definitely speak to it more when during the policy
committee. So that's the reason they've been pulled, and Sean will update there. Other modifications, Brad, did you have?
Request, yes, I'd like to remove from the consent agenda, which is Roman 3, item D, the personnel report. And I'd like to move that to after the executive session at the end of this meeting.
That will come, we are going to move in exec after other business, and so it'll come in before we adjourn for the evening. So we're going to have that will be before adjournment, right, Brad?
That's what I'm asking.
Very good. I think I understand it. You got that, Dream?
Yes. I did.
And Judy Max understands, so all is right with the world.
With most of the world.
With most of the world, except Wall Street and a few other places. I haven't seen the sign-up sheet. I'm not sure anyone would like to speak at this moment to the board. I'm not seeing anyone. So we can go on with student reps, and since LACS has always been here the last few times, I'm going to look over, and I think I see Ithaca High School students here tonight. So welcome, and introduce yourselves, and let us know what's up. Someone feel free to be first.
I'm Allison Mullenkamp. I'm a sophomore at IHS.
I'm Tony Fang. I'm a senior.
I'm Andy Mullen. I'm also a senior.
Very good. Anything to report to us tonight?
Okay, so at IHS right now is a pretty stressful time for students and teachers, specifically seniors and junior teachers, because it's college application season. Some teachers are having to do 20 to 30 letters of recommendation, which is a really time-consuming task, especially on top of their normal teaching duties. So a lot of junior teachers are really stressed out, specifically junior teachers, because they have the students right before they start applying to college. But besides that, we appreciate the increased bandwidth at Ithaca High School. It allows research projects and internet use in classrooms to be a lot more feasible. However, recently teachers have been able to use certain video viewing sites such as YouTube. It's been blocked school-wide, which is a real inconvenience to teachers because some teachers have been using it to bring multimedia into the classrooms, and those teachers have had to go home and download videos and then play them in class, which just takes extra time for them.
IHS has been transitioning very well under the leadership of Mr. Powers, and both the staff and the students are happy to see a familiar face as a leader. But we think that he's a little overlooked because it's a little hard to get appointment with him. So, yeah.
We're also dealing with the dust settling, I suppose, from the scheduling issues before the school year began and also at the beginning of the year. I guess with the scheduling, dealing with a lot of additional students that were unexpected, fewer teachers due to retirement, and also a lot of computer issues, but probably the most important end results of that are larger classes and a lot of schedule changes throughout the period between the schedules coming out and classes actually beginning.
Very good. Anything else tonight? And there will be board responses in a moment. LACS?
Alrighty. So LACS has been restricting access to students in the building before and after school, which has been a problem for a lot of students who like to use the building. Now students can come in only at 8:30 and they have to leave at 3:25. That's because of staffing constraints and the lack of another custodian. And so we like to consider that an equity issue, because a lot of students who don't have the resources, such as the library at home, can now have less time to come into school and use the library, use the printer, use the computers. So we're trying to figure that out, and that's been an issue for a lot of students at LACS. So we're working on that.
This past weekend, 21 students went to a conference in New Bedford, Massachusetts. It was called Pioneers by the Bay. It was a conference that focused on sustainability and social change.
And in 2 weeks, I will be traveling with a group of students to Rhode Island for the Coalition of Essential Schools Fall Forum Conference. There's going to be 11 of us going, and it is November 10th through the 12th. That's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to that.
Right now, a committee at our school is working to implement a salad bar for healthier options for lunch, and as well as an oatmeal bar for the morning. So to have healthier and more local food-friendly options.
And in compliance with school safety regulations, we are having and prepared for lots more drills in the coming weeks. We had a severe storm drill yesterday, and supposedly some more this week, so we'll be looking out for those.
The end of the first cycle is coming up, and teachers are writing our quarterly evaluations and creating new projects.
There have been some custodial issues, as we are lacking one custodian right now. We'd like to give kudos to the students who have been coming in lots of different hours to help out with that. Actually, our current custodian comes in at 5 in the morning and leaves at 8 in the evening, so we're trying to figure that out. And we also lots of us in our community are concerned about the hiring of the new custodian. We're told that the LACS will not have a say in the hiring process as per usual that we do, so we'd like to figure that out.
Today, a class, community service class that is a high school class, began our partnership with McCormick, which is a juvenile detention center. And we will be going out there once a week and interacting with the detainees there for the rest of the academic year.
And finally, the LACS Spaghetti Dinner will be on December 1st at the Ithaca High School in the cafeteria, and there will be a show in the Black Box Theater. So that's December 1st in the evening, so looking forward to seeing you all there. That's all.
Thanks, Aviv. Thanks. Board responses, anything? Judy Mack?
I have a question on how large the classes are getting.
It varies from class to class, but there are classes at 31, 32.
Are they Regents or AP?
Honors.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
We can provide a more detailed class size report for the
Yeah.
board. That's a simple report we can run to give you the levels of the courses and the number of students that are in them. We can send that out.
We do that sometimes anyway.
We can do that.
With LACS, I have a problem that the high school has 0 period and LACS doesn't. So kids can come in to the high school, you know, at 8. I have a problem that LACS has to wait to 8:30. And I also, I'm not as worried about the choice of custodian, but I am about the 8:30.
Well, but then you're after school as well. I mean,
Yeah.
you expect facilities to be available.
Right now, I believe it's a $3,500 difference that we're looking at for the staffing for opening at 8 and ending at 4:30 for the library, just the library alone, but that's what...
How was it covered last year?
I don't know. we could look into
Who
that.
is
I think
there-
last year there was no structure. I think students just came in and it was,
But I know that you had 2 custodians. or-
we had 2 custodians.
Yeah.
There were people there, but there were no structured activities. And I think finally this year's staff said, you know, we can't.
Yeah, it's a liability. Yeah.
We'll look into it, I don't know.
I think some of that may have been a building decision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So before we,
yeah.
that may have been a decision made at LACS. So
Well, it's money, money issue.
Yeah,
So
it-
It depends how.
it may have been made at the building level, not,
I believe it was. Yeah.
so then you already know.
I believe it was because what was previously happening was that there was no supervision of the students. We were just it was kind of a legality issue that we were just letting students into the building with no supervision, which we then realized was pretty sure illegal, so that's why that happened.
But I mean, as far as the library, I think that's a building decision, and allocate money. And as far as the custodian doesn't report technically to the principal, the custodian
Yeah.
reports technically up to Paul Alexander, to Margaret Boyce, so that's why the decision would be made elsewhere.
And also a custodian cannot supervise. He's not supposed to supervise.
The custodian issue was the hiring process.
Right, and I'm saying, because there's no reporting within the building, it doesn't make sense to be hired within the building.
Let me see, YouTube access in the high school. Now, Dr. Brown, that sounds like something that,
I was unaware that we were blocking YouTube, and if I heard correctly, teachers are downloading at home and then playing when inside of their firewall, which would lead me to believe that it isn't blocked, it may be another bandwidth issue, which I heard one of you say that the bandwidth issue isn't an issue anymore. So I'm going to have to do some more research into what this may be, because we don't block YouTube throughout the district. We did have issues last year with downloading YouTube videos because of our bandwidth. And a lot of teachers were going home and downloading and then playing when getting into classrooms.
right, there's the inability to download or get access. It's not a question of perhaps being blocked access. And district-wide, we're upgrading the infrastructure for wireless and technology.
And the bandwidth has already been addressed. So we will do some additional research to figure out what may be the issue. It may be a staff and a professional development issue around how to get the YouTube video down in an easy format to be played during class time, during that particular class. So we can figure that out.
I'm just trying to get clarity on the ACS piece real quick. Whether or not it's a building issue or not, the question becomes how we're going to resolve it. And I'm not sure that's rises to a board level decision, so it may not be something that's in our purview. We always take about not getting in the weeds that way, but it does seem to be something that would be beneficial to the academic success of students, particularly given the direction that we're going with the extracurricular program, the EDGE program as well. So will we hear back somehow, some way, some form, or someone going to be, I guess I'm looking
I'll
at
be doing an update. I'll find out about the situation tomorrow, and I'll update the board.
Right, and so for the students' benefit and for the public benefit, it's, you know, when we're in budget sessions or we're in meetings at the board, you know, the question never comes across our desks, okay, if budget time, we're cutting out extra time at LACS, that was never a decision made at this level. So, you know, a $3,500 item, and news to us, and that's why we encourage the reporting out from Ithaca High School and LACS, because, you know, we're unaware of those details at your school, and so it's good to hear, and good to hear what the issues that you're bumping up against on a weekly basis. And Elver, go ahead. Oh, I thought.
Just let that sit for a minute. Come on, we got it.
Yeah.
He chose not to speak. That's beautiful.
Oh, well, and we appreciate that, Eldred, but we always enjoy your insight. So, anyone else? Thank you, IHS students. We'll get you name tags so we can, know the players, and Doreen will do that. And we look forward to your reports ongoing. So we're going to keep moving. And in the dark, I guess I'm going to keep moving on.
I'll move the consent agenda.
I'll second. J. True seconds.
Any questions regarding the consent? It is fairly extensive, and there are some items that are not per usual, resolutions regarding bonds, etc. If there just, now's the time to ask any questions that you may have. And if I hear no questions or comments, we'll, all right, Judy?
I'm fine.
I go to my right, and if Judy's fine, then
Then the rest should be okay.
always appreciate your questions, Judy. All in favor? That's everyone. And Seth is in the building, but not right here. So that's everyone but Seth, who is absent for the vote. And Dr. Brown, I believe.
Sure. Just two quick things. Just to remind the board that Mr. Anthony and I will be traveling to Buffalo, New York later this week to participate in the New York State School Board Association conference. And looking forward to that long drive.
In the snow.
In the snow.
Dr. Brown and Rob's really exciting event.
I'm looking forward to the video.
Yeah, we would have
Maybe the
video.
Niagara together.
Can we get a couple of updates during the weekend?
We'll tweet it out. The second,
Well, Dr. Brown, we will not tweet it out. Thank you, Dr. Brown. Go right
tweet it
ahead.
out. Well, I just wish to inform the board, and I believe I sent this out as an email. Yesterday we launched our first. It was intended to be an internal publication to update internal staff members about the work that's happening within the district. And I'm showing it on this small program. What I've learned very quickly is that we're naming this the ICSD Insider. What I'm understanding is that everyone in the community is an insider. So it quickly was forwarded out, tweeted out, put on Facebook. So we're going to keep going forward with doing a bi-weekly newsletter that will be a public publication that will have some more in-depth articles, videos, pictures, updates, informational items about the work of the district. And right now you're looking at a version that's been optimized for the iPad. So we've optimized this for mobile devices in addition to being a website. And I'll show you the web browser section also. But this you'll see here we have different sections. We have a section for me providing an update or a blog post, and then we have curriculum instruction updates, business service updates, human resources updates, and then we have section for announcements and community partner updates. And I won't spend much time going through these, but in this view you can click on one of the particular posts and it will bring up the information that's there. When looking at it from a web browser, it looks a bit different. It looks more like a website, so you'll see ICSD Insider. And what's cool here is that folks can sign up to follow this newsletter via email. So whenever we update a particular post, it will send an automatic email update to the person who subscribed. So we're hoping the next newsletter to include a section on Board of Education updates, and that would be a bi-weekly update we'll provide here also. So we think we're going after priority number 3 around communication and doing a better job of communicating out the work of the district. And we received dozens of emails back from community members and internal staff members already over the last few days to say thank you for this. We also are able to monitor the statistics as far as who's clicking where and what people are looking at. And I can tell you as of 5:30 today, we had 1,400 hits on just the announcement page alone from today. And yesterday we had around 1,700 hits. So we're getting thousands of hits already with this, what was intended initially to be an internal communication. But the insider, I'm understanding now to be something that our PTA can send out on listservs, or folks anywhere in the world actually can log in to find out what's happening with the district. So I just wanted to show that to you and then show it to some folks publicly, because we're going to probably do a more formal launch of this. We're doing our homepage of the website just to let people know that it's there, and it will be updated frequently. Updates to the website are coming. This was the first shot at it. This was a lot of weekend work trying to figure out how we could organize our thoughts and things in a way that would flow and be informative. And we've been very happy with this already, so hopefully our website will see a transformation in the coming months also. Questions about this?
Whose weekend work was this, Dr. Brown? Is this a lot of your work, Dr. Brown, or is this?
Myself, and we have communications consultant that we're working with. And so, yes, I'm up 16 hours a day now. Anyway, taking care of babies.
Did Landon give you a hand?
Yeah, Landon actually, the iPad optimization was her. Because I was showing her, because if you go to my Dr. Brown page and you click on Landon's picture, for example, for her name. So I showed her this on my MacBook Air, and she walks over to the Air, she starts to swipe, thinking that she can go to another picture. Or she's clicking, hoping to get to yet another picture, or waiting for a video to pop up. And it was amazing to see that. So when seeing that, we decided we need to do something for optimizing this tool for the iPad, because so many of our young folks and adults are using mobile devices to navigate. So. She actually did it with the TV screen last night too. She walked up and with the TiVo, we had paused it, and she goes up and she sees a little arrow and she's pointing and she's hitting it, hoping that it will start.
Someday Dr. Brown, someday.
But if you have suggestions about information you wish to see there, again, it's our first shot at it. Just let me know, send me an email, and we'll recruit you.
But the expectation is that bi-weekly there's going to be a push out.
A push out and updates from all particular areas of the organization, and updates from the Board of Education, and updates from our community partners. Already I know some folks at the Ithaca Bureau are looking to provide some updates. The Family Leading Partnership has additional updates, and IPA also has updates they wish to put.
So you're looking for some of the more talented Board of Education members to provide some content.
And we can get you in the back end if you wish to do some posting of yourself. Not too much PD, rock.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
The guys are looking at it over there. So thank you, Dr. Brown. And on to school district business. And again, this is truncated a bit. We're going to take the policies out. So number A is a resolution.
If you move it and read it if you'd like.
That would be great, Brad.
Read it. I'll move item. This is Roman 5A. Whereas the Board of Education has reviewed case number 40535, the matter of CG as parent of JMB, the student with a disability complainant, versus Ithaca City School District, and has recommended the following resolution. Be it resolved, the Board of Education hereby authorizes an appeal from the decision of the impartial hearing officer in this matter to the state review officer of the State Education Department.
Thank you, Brad.
Jay True, second.
Jay seconds. Just as a note, the resolution certainly we read in public, and any vote that we take is in public. This is litigation regarding an issue, an item before the district, and so we discuss this case, discuss this suit in exec session, but we read the resolution in public and it's entered into the record, and we will vote. Certainly we can discuss the resolution, but we cannot discuss the case. So that's the rules. So it's been read, motioned and seconded. Any other questions regarding this resolution? All in favor? That's everyone. Minus up. So, on to board announcements and reports out from, reports out from various committees. We've been in business for a few months now. All committees have met several times, and this is an opportunity to report out to the public and the board current status of the various committees. So I'll open it up to whoever wants to go first. And Max wants to go first.
I have two. One is from Val Sherman School, which is not a committee, but it's a school. Had the first PTA meeting in September. There were more people there than previously. District PTA liaison came from the district that Ithaca City School District is a part of, and was able to answer many questions. We elected president, vice president, and so forth. There seems to be an uplift in spirit. We had the harvest dinner, I'm trying to think, and we have a list of things that the school itself needs to work on, that Chris Malcolm went and talked to Dan Bryman about. Certain things that are needing to be fixed, such as stairs, electrical box, so forth. So we're working on that. It was a very good meeting. I should continue.
You have the floor, Judy.
The curriculum committees met. We met on October 13th. Ms. Evelyn presented a draft of a letter to be sent to key members of the school district community to invite them to participate in a district-wide committee to study overall math achievement in the district K-12. We approved the letter. She had wanted 12 people. The list is way longer than 12, and so she said that she wanted to cut it down so that we did not need to break into 2 groups. We talked about a SMART goal all through the committee meeting. We didn't come up with a SMART goal, but she said that she had enough information to come up with one, and will mail it to us. We spent a lot of time on data analysis, and we disaggregated it, or the district, thanks to Mr. Moon, disaggregated it into numbers: getting free and reduced lunch by school, gender by school, grade level, and classified students by school. And this is their score just on the math test. That's all we're looking at this point. Seth asked why the students are not achieving. Now, what I'm going to read to you is just sort of fuzzy, because we have no data as to why they're not achieving yet. Attendance is a problem. School experience, lack of enough pre-K openings for all the children needing it. The parents' experiences with school, their own experience. The feeling that everyday math doesn't spiral well for these students who lack experiential math in their early years. And without it spiraling well and you're being absent, that becomes a problem. More staff development in math. The basic facts are not emphasized. Not enough time spent on math each day. And the families are not familiar with everyday math, the concepts that are in them, and particularly the vocabulary.
Thanks, Judy. Appreciate it. Sean? Brad, go ahead. Brad raises his hand. Go ahead.
As you know, we've combined finance and facilities, so appreciate the folks who have come, and since we now have 2.5-hour meetings to get through it, so appreciate people hanging in there with us on that. At the next finance meeting, we will start to take a peek at next year's budget. We got to get onto that. Unfortunately, you all read the newspapers. The governor's already talking about reneging on his 2-year commitment to state aid. So it's going to be hard to know what we're going to be getting on state aid if they actually do back off the commitment they made to 2 years. So there's always challenges there. On the facilities side, finally starting to close out a number of the projects, having wrapped up Bell Sherman's interior, looking good, still finishing up the exterior. Judy mentioned a handful of small things still to be done. The health and wellness continues to drag, slightly behind schedule. It's going to be a challenge to be ready for the second semester. It's unlikely at this point. I think they'll probably not turn the whole building over to us until sometime in February. we're pressing to at least get some of the spaces available class time during once the second semester starts. For those of you who are down here on the high school campus, you're aware that the parking lot behind A building is being torn up. That's the only way to get it done, to put it back together again. You got to rip Humpty Dumpty up before you put it back together. That's actually going to be a pretty short project that'll get done in the next couple of weeks. You'll have new paving, new curbs, new lighting spots before winter gets here. So apologize that couldn't get done this summer, but there were some challenges that I won't bore you with.
Thanks, Brad. At least the other parking lot was done, so...
So you can park in it, yeah.
It's to move, right? Anyway, but thanks, Brad. And Brad, just as a point of order, well, not point of order, point of information, there were, in the consent agenda, there were 2 items regarding facilities.
Moving ahead with the roof on Cuba Heights. We debated going with, kind of the open classroom model with no roof, but that was declined. So we are getting a new roof down there. And we also are moving ahead with the wireless capacity throughout all of our buildings so that we can have devices in all the rooms. And also we're hoping to have at least some exterior spaces on every building so that people can use it outside as well as in classrooms, like your courtyard, for example, so that there's the ability to use it there, but also so that folks can get access. If they don't have access anywhere else, they can at least get access at their school building, even when the school building's closed.
Exactly, and what the consent agenda vote did was allow the district to go out and bid those projects, and also authorize the district to, borrow the money eventually once we receive those bids back. But hopefully that work will be done next summer, right, Brad?
That's correct.
Right. So hopefully we'll get the wireless access and the roof done next summer.
Yep.
That's why we try to push this through now.
Because it's got to go to the state education department for approval.
Exactly.
And
go ahead, Elwood.
Human Resources Committee we've met several times. It's actually quite a robust committee. I feel like half the board is there. I'd say from our perspective, we are reworking and re-examining our entire human resource process. Bob has been extremely helpful in helping us understand the new layout, as well as doing a yeoman's task of somehow taking notes as he's trying to explain to us what's happening. Dr. Brown has said it eloquently. What we are really trying to do is invert the process so they can consistent, well-trained set of educational professionals decides which candidates we can bring to this community, and then other external constituents, community members will help select between several options that we know can all do the job. So we're all excited. In addition to the regular personnel reports, that seems to be the largest thing on our agenda this year. Probably will take the entire year to actually execute, refine, find the pitfalls with that, redress, but I'm excited to announce that we think we're going to have a different process. Say this to Sue, we have yet to resolve the issue of timing. I know you mentioned issues with you and your union colleagues, but this group selected that time before this meeting because it's frankly the only thing that fit our schedule. So hopefully we can still communicate and try to figure out a way to have you guys, your input is essential, and we want it on a regular basis.
Go ahead, Sean. Thank you, Eldred. Go ahead, Sean.
Policy update. First and foremost, there's a change of the next meeting. On the agenda it says November 3rd. We've changed that meeting to November 10th. Same time, hopefully same location. So the next policy meeting will be November 10th. We are still working with NISBA to complete a holistic review of our policy book, and so that's the reason why we pulled the policies off. We have yet to get confirmation about the ability for us to approve policies while we're undergoing this policy process and trying not to make sure that we have our anything crossed, so we'll get confirmation at that next policy meeting and bring an update there. What will be taking place a week from this evening, is that right? No, November 8th. It's not open this evening, is it? It is. It is. No?
No,
2 weeks. Fantastic, thank you. On November 8th, there's going to be a joint session of the policy and finance/facility committees. They're going to be meeting to discuss school use, the school use policy for the district, as well as the school use application forms, taking a look at that. So we've had a meeting already with our legal counsel to come give us a fairly in-depth 120 PowerPoint slide tutorial. I feel compelled to say that. 40 pages.
All right, who stayed awake? Go ahead.
We asked good questions, as we always do, and learned that we needed to have a further meeting to follow up on that conversation as well, and that's the meeting for November 8th. And since it's a joint or combined committee session, it will be announced as a open meeting open to all board members who want to come participate. We're expecting to have, I think, 5 at least. There are 5 members of both those committees that will be there. And that's it. And I know that a couple of us met with Mr. Anthony Hobson up at Ithaca College to talk about Ithaca City School District, Ithaca College partnerships. Quite similar to what was taking place at the fair that Mr. Walker came to talk to us about Cornell, and trying to find ways in which we're trying to capture similar data about what sort of partnerships are taking place on Ithaca College campus, and finding ways in which we can maximize and leverage to both of our advantage when we find those partnerships to be useful. And so there'll hopefully be more information coming about that in the next coming couple months.
Very good. Thanks, Sean. Anyone else? Go ahead, Pat.
I attended the BJM PTA meeting last week. It was extremely well attended. There's a lot of good news to report from BJM. PTA membership is almost double what it has been in the past. There were a lot of people there. They are going to launch some new fundraising initiatives, to the point where I understand BJM PTA is for the first time going to put out a budget and vote on it next month. And the first fundraising target is a scoreboard for the gymnasium there. The bulk of the meeting was a presentation by the student services staff on a universal human rights curriculum that they've been working on for quite some time within the school, teaching about universal human rights and respect for others and respect for yourself. And so there were some activities, some artwork that children had produced in years past were on display, and a very interesting evening.
Thanks, Pat. Go ahead, Seth.
Rob, I just want to take this opportunity to recognize the maintenance crew at the high school. If you've been over there recently, you've realized that because of the construction work, everyone, all 3,000 or 1,500 students are having to walk through the Culp auditorium to get to the high school. And I've been in there the past few days, and each time I go by, it's as if that's not happening, and that there are not 3,000 people, 1,500 coming, 1,500 going, plus staff, walking through that space. It's clean, no matter what the weather. So I just want to, recognize the Ithaca High School maintenance crew for doing an outstanding job and taking personal and professional responsibility for, maintaining our facilities in an outstanding way, because that's certainly a heavy load, a daily,
For one hallway, yeah.
Yeah, for one hallway, and especially when the section outside of that hallway is covered with mud and people cut through the mud. So but again, just another example of some of the great things people do when they're working for our district.
Thanks, Seth. Anyone else? Jay, anything? We did get a report regarding audit committee. We did get a report from the audit committee that was on the public business section of the board meeting. And one thing that we did miss, that for those who don't know about the audit committee or know the rules and regs, there are 3 board members on that committee, but there are 2 members of the public that are on that committee. And what we did not recognize that day was that Frank Lee and Don Waddell, right, have been on that committee for at least 2 years?
3 anyway.
2 or 3 years, provide excellent input into the audit process. And, they're volunteers. It's appreciate it. But per regs, per state regs, we have to have non-board members on that audit committee. So I certainly want to thank Frank and Don for the continued service. The next audit committee meeting is with...
Some months.
It'll be in December.
It'll be in December, so we meet quarterly. But we are obligated and need and have to have, outside input into the audit process. And so we want to thank Frank and Don for their input. Brad and I actually were the first 2 non-board members on that committee, and who knows what the future will bring for Frank and Don. But we won't commit them to that future, but we want to thank them for their service. So, anything else? Chris, you're good? You're fine? So I think it's on to reprise. Susan, do you have anything for the group?
Nope.
Well, I'm a stunned silence, but we always appreciate your input, Susan, Brad.
I'll move we go into executive session for discussion of personnel matters at this time.
Very good. So we are going to wrap it up, and that's the end of the public session, and we will...
No, except we intend to come back to the public session at the end of the...
Right. To Brad's point, we're ending this portion of the public session. We will go into exec once we get a second and approve that motion. Judy, all in favor of going back into exec session? That's everyone. So thanks everybody, and that's it for a little while.
You don't like. So Wallace Stegner's invent characters you love and visit trouble on them is just because, fiction arises out of conflict. There's no way to have fiction without conflict. So that's where the trouble that you visit on them, but you try to imbue them with the humanity that you would like to see carried over. And I'm thinking, again, about John Gardner and moral fiction. I'm thinking about, for instance, Tolstoy and Dickens, the writers that the widely acknowledged writers of complexity and detail character. Yeah. Trying to understand what character is. And I think that is what writing is about. When we do the workshops, we have a series of workshops that, a series of prompts that we use to help people clarify their goals for their writing and take their writing to another step. So the workshops are in multi-genre. In other words, you can be writing nonfiction. A lot of people are writing memoir right now, and I think it's fabulous. A lot of people are writing poetry. Some people are writing fiction. The workshops are for any genre and at any level of experience. And that is really an amazingly helpful part of the workshops, in that we have people who are very established writers and we have novice writers. And the cross-pollination between that is amazing to watch. Sometimes the novice writer has so much to offer the advanced writer, and vice versa.
Yeah, because it hasn't been said yet, I suppose.
That's right.
Do they come in with ideas that then can be turned into something that is literary, or are these just still wandering ideas? And
well, it depends. Some people will write to me in advance and they'll say, I'm working on this book and here's where I am with it, and I'm going to send you a couple of pages, take a look, and have a dialogue, and we'll see. I like to be able to tailor the workshop to the needs of the people who are coming. Other people will come. For instance, the last workshop I did, I had a woman who had only been in her life, the only writing she had done is journal writing, but she had lived a fascinating life, and she was ready to, she wanted to write a small memoir that she could leave for her children and her grandchildren. And she had an illness and had, battled her way back, and she said this was the goal that she set herself, that when she got better, she was going to do this writing.
I have heard of so many instances where somebody began wanting to write a memoir, just do something autobiographical, and as they go into it, they say, maybe this isn't just for the grandchildren.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something that everybody should be able to read. Yeah. Maybe I need to find an agent. I have to find a publisher.
Well, and that happens sometimes.
Yeah,
it happens sometimes. And sometimes people, the other way too, sometimes people will say, well, I just really, I'm really want to publish. I really want to get out there. And then they do the writing and they realize that the writing was the thing, not the publishing so much, that they wanted to have it for their own, for their own needs. We've seen it, seen all permutations of that, and of course are willing to work with people in mostly it's a problem of identifying what the project is and giving them the time and space and the nurturing environment in order to get a good chunk of work done. And once you've made that commitment, when you come back, we talk a lot about establishing your work habits for when you come back and when you get back into it, because that is always a challenge.
Sure. Karen, I deliberately waited till about the last minute on the program to ask, what's the third book in the trilogy going to be about? When are we going to see it? And
well, the first book is Hattie's.
You see, I didn't give you much time, so you don't have to tell us too much.
The first book is Hattie's book. A Trick of Light. The second book, The Season of Lost Children, is Eleanor's book. And the third book, temporarily called, I'm not entirely sure, but I think so far it's going to be called The Mechanics of Fire, is the story of Athena. And that takes place in 2005 after much change in the town and much change in the lives of these three women. And it is, I think of it as the culmination where all the threads of the other two books will be picked up and woven into some as yet undetermined conclusion. But I know it's there in the 1,100 pages I already have written, so we'll see where it goes from here.
This is something we hear so often, that the author doesn't quite know what is going to be next. I mean, are you afraid you're going to run into a blank wall at some point? Or
I don't know. I really trust the process a lot. That's one thing that all the different genres that I've written in and all the things that I've written has really helped me to see that it's a kind of surrender to to the process, I do think that I know where it's going. I always think I know where it's going, but then it always goes a different way. So I have to surrender to it and just say, well, yes, that's the way it's supposed to go.
Well, we got to go a different way right now. We've been speaking about The Season of Lost Children by Karen Blomé. It's published by Pearl Song Press, and if you'd like to know more about it and about Karen, you can check our website at wskg.org, and while you're on the web, you can also listen again to this and other off-the-page programs in our audio archive and download the program as a podcast. That's at wskg.org. Karen, it's been a wonderful hour with you and Kasha and Eleanor and Hattie and the folks in Princeton, and thank you so much for coming to visit today.
It was a great pleasure and privilege to be here. Thank you.
Off the Page returns 2 weeks from today with a novel about a real man living out his life's adventure in a place deemed forever wild. Foxy Brown was a guide to the Adirondack region, a well-educated man who found himself accused of murder and went into hiding for years. Foxy Brown's story has now been pieced together by Charles Yapel, Professor Emeritus of Recreation, Parks, and Leisure Studies at SUNY Cortland. It's called A Story of Adirondack Outlaw, Hermit, and Guide as He Might Have Told It. And it's a grand excursion through history and through the Adirondacks. Charles Yapel will join us Tuesday, November 8th, live at 1, rebroadcast at 7. Technical supervision today by Scott Hollis. Bill Snyder was the phone coordinator. I'm Bill Jaker. Thank you for joining us off the page.
In Hornell, New York at 88.7. This is WSKG.
Support for WSKG comes from locally owned River Read Books in downtown Binghamton. On the Riverwalk, celebrating local authors. riverreadbooks.com. And from WSKG's listeners who become members. Thanks.
Mostly cloudy skies in tonight's weather forecast. A chance of rain after midnight. Overnight lows around 40. Cloudy tomorrow with rain likely mainly in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-50s. Tomorrow night, rain with lows in the upper 30s. Thursday, rain with highs in the lower 40s. For Thursday night, snow and rain. Light snow accumulation. Overnight lows in the upper 20s. This is WSKG-FM HD Binghamton, WSQG-FM HD Ithaca, WSQE-FM HD Corning, WSQA-FM HD Hornell, WSQC-FM Oneonta. Streaming on the web at wskg.org.
Support for WSKG is provided by Wild Birds Unlimited, your backyard bird feeding specialists. Wild Birds Unlimited, Valley Plaza, Johnson City, and Sapsucker Woods Road, Ithaca.
Each fall, brilliant displays of yellow, red, and orange draw many to North America's deciduous woodlands. I'm Bob Cantor. The basic science behind this striking fall foliage on today's Nature Watch. Throughout spring and summer, the leaves of most deciduous trees wear varying shades of green. The color results from large amounts of chlorophyll, the green pigment vital to photosynthesis. Leaves are the production sites for most of a tree's food. Chlorophyll in leaf cells absorbs from sunlight the energy needed to chemically transform carbon dioxide in water into nourishing carbohydrates. Most leaves also contain yellow and orange pigments. Most of the year, these colors are masked by the large amounts of chlorophyll. But in fall, changes in day length and temperature signal the end of the growing season. Leaves stop photosynthesis, and the unneeded chlorophyll breaks down. The green color disappears and the yellow and orange pigments become visible. Residual chlorophyll mixes in varying amounts with these and other leaf pigments to provide a staggering array of autumn colors and a feast for the eyes. Nature Watch is produced with the National Forest Foundation, engaging Americans in caring for our national forests. Visit us online at nationalforests.org.
There are plenty of places where you can find stories about the brilliant young athletes of America. But if you want to get up close and personal with America's superb young classical musicians, then join host Christopher O'Reilly and me, Joanne Robinson, each week for NPR's From the Top.
Wednesday night at 8.
Hello and welcome to Classical Guitar Alive. I'm Tony Morris. Classical Guitar Alive is broadcast worldwide thanks to the generous support of the Kodosky Foundation and Charles and Taco Parker. On the web at classicalguitaralive.org. Thanks for joining me for this week's edition of Classical Guitar Alive, featuring an interview with Australian composer Russell Sarr. We'll hear a live recording of his lyric suite for guitar and string quartet and an interview recorded in May 2011. Also on the program is music by Bach and French composer Francis Clányons. We'll start with music by Argentine guitarist-composer Julio Sagreras, his Sonatina No. 4. It's performed here by Carlos Perez. Carlos Perez performing the Sonatina No. 4 by Julio Sagreras. Australian composer Russell Sarr has made a gorgeous addition to the guitar repertory with his lyric suite for guitar and string quartet. We'll hear a live recording from its world premiere featuring guitarist Steve Kostelnik and the Haba String Quartet. In May 2011, Russell Sarr spoke from his home in Hamburg, Germany about his music.
Let me start off by saying what a great pleasure it is to be on your show again. You know I'm one of your biggest fans. I've seen all your fans, they're quite short. But how would I describe my compositional style? Slack, lazy, unfocused, lousy. Now I think that it starts off with a melody or a theme or some kind of harmonic idea. Something which to me has a germ of life. A bit like, well, it's a bit cliched, I know, but there's got to be some pregnancy to it, and it can come in anything, a series of chords, 1, 2 chords, a motive, but usually it starts melodically. But I don't know, I think that the guitar and the string quartet, for me it's a little bit like a cream cake. I don't know, what is it about cream and sponge cake that goes so well together? For some reason, the guitar and the string quartet, they're just a beautiful combination.
the world premiere of Russell Saar's Lyric Suite for Guitar and String Quartet. That performance in Kronberg, Germany featured guitarist Steve Kostelnik and the Haba String Quartet. You're listening to Classical Guitar Alive. I'm Tony Morris. If you'd like more information about this week's program, you can visit our website, classicalguitaralive.org. Up next, La Elegante by Julio Sagreras. Carlos Perez is the guitarist. Carlos Perez performing his suitably titled piece La Elegante by Julio Sagreras. The four elements of earth, water, air, and fire are represented in the four movements of Francis Kleinen's piece for guitar quartet. It's also titled The Four Elements, and it's performed here by the Melbourne Guitar Quartet.